Hey friends, so whether you are brand new to Saint Makeup, just got it in the mail, or if you want to learn a little bit more about the products, I'm going to show you how you set up your magnetic compact, and I'm going to do a beginner tutorial using two different application methods. So I'm going to work out of this one today. This is our 3D8 palette. It holds 8 singles. I've got 4 in the top. You can fit 4 in the bottom. These are the large ones, and then you can fit double the amount of eyeshadow. So I could put 4 eyeshadows in the bottom if I wanted to. But the basics that I recommend for anyone who's just starting out, who only wants the minimum, would be these 4 right here. I wouldn't say anything less than this, because this is going to include 2 highlight shades. This is going to be your foundation colors. We just refer to them as highlights. And then you're going to have your contour, and then you're going to have a lip and cheek color. You can choose any color that you like. We have some matte colors. This one is a matte, or more of a satin, I guess. And then we have more of a semi-gloss and glossy colors as well. So that is the main components of the 3D foundation. And then I would consider these extras. This is our Illuminator, which is what a lot of people call highlighter. So we call it Illuminator. This is a cream one. We also have powder ones. And then this is our cream bronzer, which is amazing. And then, like I said, you can add so many other things to build your custom compact. You can do a bigger one, and you can add a whole layer of eyeshadows if you want to. We have lip conditioner, we have brow wax, we have all kinds of things that you can use to customize your compact, completely what you want, all designed by you and added in by you and changed out. When you run out of one, you just pop it out and put the new one in. So that's what's great about the whole system, is it's completely custom to whatever you want and whatever you prefer. I want to show y'all 2 different application methods. I feel like one of them is very easy for beginners, but I want to go ahead and show you how I do it with the brush as well. A lot of people like to start out using their finger to actually apply the makeup and then blend it out with a brush. So I'm going to do one half of my face using like the dot method or the cheetah hack method, and then I'm going to use a brush and show you how I do it on the other side, and then how it all blends out together in the end. All right, I'm just going to pin my hair back just a little bit, get it out of my face so y'all can see what we're doing here. And I'm going to use just my fingertip, and I'm going to dip into my main color. This is going to be the darker of the two, and I'm just going to get a tiny bit. This is cream makeup. A little goes a long way, so you only need a tiny bit. And right here is where I need more coverage, so I'm just going to kind of dot a little bit in these areas. And then I'm going to go kind of down here. See, my contour is going to go in this area, so I'm not really going to put much product there. If you have some trouble spots there that you want to conceal first, you can do that if you want to. You can do a small base, like a light base layer all over if you'd like. It's completely your choice, but if you want to just have as minimal amount of product as possible, this is a great way to try it and just have just one layer of makeup on your face. So now I'm going to do just a little bit kind of right here on my forehead. You can kind of see the dots a little bit, and then we're going to blend it out once I get all that in. And then I'm going to put just a tiny bit on the side of my nose right here. My nose gets a lot of redness, so make sure I put some there, and then just a little bit on my chin. Okay, next up, I'm going to go with my contour, tapping my finger in it just like I did. And you're going to go and find the hollow point of your cheekbone, okay? And you're just going to kind of go in. You can swipe it, or you can tap the dots in, however you want to do it, and run it along, hugging that cheekbone, okay? And then you're going to take it down about to the outer edge of your eye. You don't want to take it down too far. You don't want to drag your face down, okay? Do a little bit more so you can see that I'm just tapping it in. If you want more contour, I mean, you can add more if you want. It just depends on the look you're going for. But I'm just going to add just about that much, and then we're going to go back in with our brush in a few minutes. So now I'm going to go along my forehead and do sort of an upside down V is what I'm going for, but I'm just doing this one side for now. Okay. So a lot of people like to do this fingertip method as a beginner, just because you have more control over your finger than a brush sometimes when you're first using the product. So just tapping that in. If you want to, you can take it along your jawline, just right here. Stop it about right here where these jowl lines, I don't know, is that what they're called? You don't want to take it like all the way across your jaw. I would stop it about right there where those lines start to form. Okay? If you want to contour your nose, you can do that a little bit. I don't usually do it a lot, but just to show you, you can just tap it along the sides of the of your nose. And it looks a little strange because I'm only doing one side. Okay, so we've got that on. Now we're gonna go into that lighter highlight shade. Now this is the shade you can use to mix with your other color if you want. I like to use it as a brightening shade. What most people would probably do with concealer, you know, and put it under here to brighten. So I don't usually recommend a whole lot of product directly under your eye, especially as we age. That skin is so delicate and thin that if you put a whole lot of product under your eye, it's gonna tend to look cakey. So we wanna minimalize that. So what I like to do is start beside my nose and tap just a little bit and then work my way up. Because if you think about it, the first place you lay down your finger or your brush, the most product is gonna go down in that spot. So I don't want that to be right here under my eye. So I'm just kind of tapping it over like this and then working my way up, okay? You can also do a little bit down the center of your nose. You can put a little bit of a brighter color in here. On your chin a little bit. I don't know if I'll be able to confusing myself doing half and half. Okay. Now, lastly, I'm going to tap into my lip and cheek color, and I'm going to put it right here on my cheek. And then we're going to blend that out in just a second. So now, before we blend it, I'm going to take my brush, and I'm going to show you how I would do the same thing using my brush, though. I'm going to use two brushes. These are my two favorites. We have other brushes that can do everything as well. I just like to use these together, and I'll talk to you more about those too. But this is my favorite brush. This is the Blush and Bronzer, and I'm going to use it the smaller side, and I'm going to tap into that main highlight shade, just a tiny bit. And I'm just going to hit a little bit of this redness here. I'm going to avoid some of that area for the contour, some right in here, and then just a tiny bit up here on the forehead. Okay. Now I'm going to move to my detail height brush. This is the other brush that I love. This is awesome for contour. I'm going to use this flat side and kind of take it into my contour, just like this. And I'm going to go in and do the same thing I did with my finger on the other side and just hug that cheekbone, tap it in, and then blend it upward. Remember, take it to about the outer corner of your eye. And I'll just kind of blend it as I apply it, but I'm going to go back over and blend everything. So then, same thing, dip it back in the contour, and I'm going to take it on my forehead and down the side and that upside down V, just like I did over here, but with my finger. You can also look at it like a 3 if you do it like this, or that would be an E for me. A 3 and an E, depending on which side of the screen you're on. But it's another way to look at it and remember kind of where it goes. And then, like I said, you can do it along your jaw if you want to and really kind of define it. And then you can also take the side of the brush and do your nose contour as well. And I would do that by just kind of tapping it here on the other side of my nose, where I use my finger to kind of tap it over here. And I'm going to look in my mirror and see where we're at here, because it's hard to tell on my phone. And this is something fun to play around with. You don't have to do nose contour. It just adds a little bit of detail and sculpt, and if you want it, go for it. If you don't, it's fine too. Okay, so I'm gonna go in and kind of blend out my contour just a little bit. Okay, now I'm gonna go back in and do that brighter highlight color that I kind of did right here, and I'm gonna use the small side of my detail hack brush. So I'm gonna tap in just a tiny bit, go right here beside my nose, because remember I don't want to lay down too much product anywhere else, and then work my way up. Where we can kind of conceal what we want, but without getting too much product under our eyes. And if you find that you need more coverage, if you have really dark under eye circles, or if you have some other kind of trouble area, there are other colors available that we can try and you can use for like a color corrector. So if you have any questions about that, you can always reach out to me and I can see what might work for you. All right. And then if I was going to do the center of my nose, I would use this small point as well. And then, like I said, if you do right here, you're looking at the sort of a triangle of light here that kind of goes, you can do this triangle or this triangle. These are sort of triangles, I guess, too. But you really want to kind of lighten up the whole center of your face. You want the focal point when people talk to you and see you to be towards your eyes, you know. So the contour, you know, it kind of directs people's attention, like from, say, your forehead or something like that, directly to the center of your face. So that's kind of the whole idea behind it. All right, so technically you could use this if you wanted to. You could use this side for foundation if you want, and you could go in and blend out. But I'm going to switch back to my blush and bronzer, and I'm going to go into my lip and cheek again, and I'm just tapping just a little bit. Okay, and then applying it over here. See, and I'm going to get just a tad bit more. Okay, so everything's done. Now we're going to give a final blend of everything. So you can see that it was super simple to use my finger over here, and then we're going to blend it out. Same thing over here I applied with brushes. So it's going to all turn out the same. It all comes out in the wash. So we're going to wash. And all I do, I love this brush, y'all. It's just my favorite because it's so good for blending. I'm going to go in. I'm working with these lighter colors first before I kind of blend into the darker tones. So I'm just going to kind of stipple and tap to blend all of that together. And then down here. You don't want to do a lot of tugging and pulling on your skin. We want to be nice to our skin. Okay. Let me look in my mirror and then we'll blend the rest. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and almost marry the contour and the blush a little bit together. So I'm going to kind of hit the blush first and then kind of work my way into that contour. And I'm still in that blending upward motion. Okay, you see that? Same for this side. Now this side was already blended a good bit because I applied it with the brush and I was kind of blending as I went. So that one doesn't need as much. And then just going to kind of blend out my nose where we contoured there. All right, that's your basic 4. So if you get just the quad with those 4 colors, that's what you're going to do with them. But if you have more in your compact, if you have the Illuminator and the bronzer, I would say when you're jumping up to more than the 4, these would be the next 2 things to get. The bronzer I'm going to put on, I use bronzer even in the wintertime, even when I don't have a tan. I just like the warmth that it gives my skin. So I'm going to use that blush and bronzer brush, and I'm just going to tap it into my Bella bronzer just a little bit. And I hit it right here at the top of the cheekbones and kind of make sort of a C shape, okay? So we've got all kinds of letters going on here. We've got the upside down V for the contour. We've got the 3 and the E, well, numbers and letters, for the contour around the face. And then now for bronzer, I'm going with a C. So I just kind of tap it in and then blend it down into that lip and cheek a little bit. And it just makes a nice and pretty like warmth that I just love. We actually have some dark highlight shades that are really pretty bronzers too, but I do love our Bella bronzer, so good. Okay, so if you have, say your face is a little bit darker than your neck, or your chest is darker, more than likely your face, your neck, and your chest are not gonna all match. That's just most people. So what you can do is bridge the gap the best you can. So if I have a little bit more color in my face, I can take like my bronzer and just kind of run it down my neck just a little bit. It's not anything thick. It's not like gross makeup all over me kind of feeling. You're just bridging the gap. That's all you're doing. Okay? And then say if your neck, say if you have a spray tan, but you don't have any tanner on your face, bronzer again. You can do a light layer of bronzer all over first if you want to, or you can just, you know, add more of it at the end to kind of make sure that you bridge that gap too. So, and you can always use a darker highlight shade if you prefer to. And the last step, I'm going to take my finger in my cream illuminator. This one is Angel. And you're going to put this on the top of your cheekbones, kind of where you ran that bronzer down into it. So you've got your contour, and then your lip and cheek is here, and then your illuminator is on top of it. This just gives that extra glow. It's so like youthful and vibrant. I just love this extra touch. And you can kind of take it up here. You can put a little bit on the tip of your nose. You can put it on your Cupid's bow. You can put a tiny bit under your brow bone. Anywhere where you like a little extra pop of some glow. And I don't have my brows or my eyes done. I will put a picture after this showing everything pulled together, but this was just, I just wanted to do a quick face tutorial for y'all for everything else. And then, okay, so lip and cheek. So the one that I used was a matte, more of a satin, but so you can definitely use that, but you may want a lip conditioner over it or something to give it more of a sheen. It's just your preference. So I'm just gonna tap a little bit on my lips. And then I'm gonna go in with my illuminator and add some to the center of my lip. There you go, that's it. I use some of my other brushes. I use to line my lips sometimes with my contour, so that's another option you can do. There's so many different ways to apply, y'all. So the last step would be setting spray. Ours is really good. If you have another one that you want to try, you can by all means try that one first if you want. You do need to set your creams with a setting spray just to kind of lock them in place for the day. So I used the blush and bronzer and the detail brush. These are my two favorites, but we also have tons of other great brushes. So if you just bought one brush, you may have bought one of these. This is the blend brush. This is our light coverage brush. You can use it in the same ways. You can apply your contour with either side. All the brushes are double-ended, so there's no rules. You can use them for anything that you want to. This is the 3D brush. You can definitely apply your contour, your foundation, and kind of blend with this end here. This is the buff brush. This is our full coverage brush. So once again, you could do contour with this side, you could do foundation with this side and kind of stipple it in. So definitely you can get it all done with these double-sided brushes. Those are just my two favorites. So some people ask me if you need a powder with this makeup. I'm dry, So I don't typically use it. Maybe in the summertime I do, but in the wintertime I just don't need it. And I do like to have that glowy look. If you prefer more of a matte look, you can definitely add powder to it if you'd like. It's completely optional. I would just recommend either a loose, make sure it's translucent, a loose translucent powder, maybe if you're oily or if you just prefer more powder. And then we have a solid setting powder, vanilla dust. So it's really good too. I like to use it particularly in these areas where, like I said, all that thin, delicate skin is, because it's finely milled, and so you're not gonna have it cake up or anything. I also wanted to show y'all the Perfector sponge. If you haven't tried it yet, this one is dry, but when you use it, you're gonna get it wet. You're gonna wring it out in running water, get a paper towel, wring out all the water, make sure it's not wet anymore, but just damp and kind of cold. And you're gonna use it to kind of press in the makeup into the skin and blend out if you need to. This is really great for this area under your eye, because if you have any excess makeup there, it's gonna kind of pick that up. So if you do have mature skin, or if you feel like you may be putting too much product down, this is a great way to kind of blot it off. So this is great. This one is an older one. We have, they're gray now, so this was an old pink one that I have, but I didn't use it today, but I wanted to tell you about it, and if you feel like that's something that you might can use. It's really soft. It's like a puffy cloud. It's not really very foamy, so it just works really well to blend everything out. So this is just a basic kind of beginner look. It's a pretty light coverage. You can add more if you want. If you want more of a bold lip and cheek, you can do that for sure. I do encourage you to start off with as little product as possible at first. One mistake that a lot of people make in the beginning is using too much product because they're used to using more of their other foundation. So just use a light hand. You can blend it out. It's very forgivable, and so just have fun with it. It's fun to play around with and try new colors, and it's so easy and so convenient. So if you don't have the makeup yet and you want to get some, just let me know. We can do a color match. If you ever have any questions about your makeup though, just feel free to reach out. I'm always here to help you.